Latest Steelers news. A bombshell has just broken out of Pittsburgh, and if you're a Steelers fan, you need to know this right away. First, a name no one expected to hear again, Chase Claypool, has just been given a chance that most thought was lost forever, and the story behind it is incredible. Next, there's an update on the quarterback competition between Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, and things aren't going the way most people imagined. And finally, Mike McCarthy just said something about the offense that has left fans completely divided. Give this a like. Let's start with Claypool and what just happened. Alright, let's talk about a name Steelers fans haven't heard in a while. Chase Claypool. Remember this guy? Back in 2020, this dude was an absolute problem for defenses. Steelers grab him in the second round, 49th overall, and he comes out the gate swinging. 62 catches, 873 yards, 9 touchdowns as a rookie. And get this, he becomes the first rookie in franchise history to score 4 touchdowns in a single game. That happened against the Eagles. October 2020, he tied Franco Harris. He tied Louis Lips as a rookie. Man was must-see TV every single Sunday, and Steelers fans genuinely thought they had their next great homegrown weapon. Year 2, still rolling. 59 grabs, 860 yards. Numbers weren't dipping much, just the touchdowns dried up a little, but then, and this is where it gets rough, everything fell off a cliff. 2022 comes around, Claypool's only got 311 yards through 8 games. Dude's reportedly unhappy in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers ship him off to Chicago. And Chicago didn't work either. 140 yards rest of that season. Bears cut ties 3 games into 2023. He bounces to Miami, still can't find his footing, ends up scraping for a prove-it deal in Buffalo before an injury basically shuts the whole thing down completely. Now here's the news. Claypool hasn't played an NFL snap since 2023. 3 full years gone. But this week, a door cracked open just enough. The Saints, dealing with a hamstring injury to Jordan Tyson, brought Claypool in for a tryout. He wasn't alone either. 9-year vet Josh Reynolds was in that building too, so New Orleans is clearly hunting hard for receiver depth right now. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Claypool's walking into a starting job tomorrow. 3 years off the field, a career trending the wrong direction for a long stretch. That's a tough climb back for anybody. But every guy like this needs one shot, and this is his. If that old 800-yard-a-season version shows up in that workout, somebody's picking up the phone fast. Alright, that's Claypool, but stick around because the backup quarterback situation in Pittsburgh just got a whole lot more interesting. And this update dropped this morning straight from a Steelers insider. Okay, this might be the most fascinating position battle happening in Pittsburgh camp right now. Who's QB2 behind Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, or Will Howard? And we just got a fresh update straight from the Athletic's Mike DeFabo that's gonna shake up how you're thinking about this whole thing. So here's the deal. During OTAs, it looked like Howard, Pittsburgh's 2025 rookie, had the edge, getting second-team reps and building momentum. But once camp opened up in Latrobe, the whole thing flipped completely. Rudolph took over that backup spot, and when the Steelers rolled out their preseason opener against Green Bay, a game they won 28-9 by the way, Rudolph went out there and balled, 10 of 11 passing, didn't even hit the ground once. Only incompletion was a Jeremy Bernard catch, where dude just couldn't get his second foot down in the end zone. That's how clean the performance was. Howard, on the other side, not bad, but not special either. 7 of 9 for 86 yards. Solid, not spectacular by any stretch. And to make it worse for him, rookie third rounder Drew Aller completely stole the spotlight that day. 10 of 13, 153 yards, 2 touchdown passes, plus a rushing score on top of it. Dude's reportedly been surprising the coaching staff all spring and summer long, and now people are legitimately wondering if Howard's even got a long-term future in Pittsburgh at all. DeFabo says Howard's debut was a mixed bag. He ran a good 2-minute drill, showed some real poise there, but also made a sketchy decision putting the ball in danger on a 3rd down. So now, heading into Friday's game against the Jets, these last 2 preseason matchups are absolutely huge for Howard if he wants to prove he deserves to stick around as QB3, let alone push for QB2. And here's the wild part. DeFabo's reporting that keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster is gaining real momentum inside that building right now. Rodgers and Aller are locks. No debate there. That leaves Rudolph and Howard fighting for spots that might not even both exist come week 1 against Atlanta on September 13th. Now here's the one that's really gonna get people talking today. Mike McCarthy just opened up about the offense, and depending how you look at it, this is either genius or a massive red flag for Steelers fans. Alright, let's get into this one, because I think this is gonna split the fan base right down the middle. Steelers bring in Mike McCarthy to finally fix the offense after years of Arthur Smith's struggles under Tomlin. And look, the frustration was real. Pittsburgh went 10-6, won the AFC North in 2025, but the offense was still a mess underneath it all. 103.3 rushing yards a game. That's 26th in the entire league, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. That's not good enough, and everybody in that building knew it. So naturally, when McCarthy walks in the building, fans are thinking, great, clean slate, blow the whole thing up, start fresh. This guy's got a Super Bowl ring, a track record of developing quarterbacks, building real offenses from the ground up. This was supposed to be the fresh start everybody wanted. But then McCarthy sits down with Ralph Vacchiano and drops this quote that's got people scratching their heads a little bit. It's not like just Rodgers and I got back together and dusted off the old playbook. There's a lot of language that's changed, and we kept some of the things that were here last year just to try and keep the guys in sync. Wait, kept some of the old stuff? The stuff that had them ranked 26th in rushing last season? Yeah, I totally get why that raises some eyebrows around the fan base. But hold on, before you panic, now here's the logic behind it. McCarthy and Rodgers go back 13 seasons together in Green Bay. Rodgers already speaks McCarthy's language fluently. No learning curve there at all. The rest of the roster, not so much. So instead of forcing guys like Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Roman Wilson, and Jalen Warren to relearn an entirely new offensive dictionary from scratch this summer, McCarthy and OC Brian Angelicchio are keeping some familiar terminology while changing how those concepts actually get called, disguised, and executed on the field. It's basically a bridge. Familiar words on the surface, brand new ideas underneath running the show. Smart in theory, no doubt about that. But here's my issue with it. Rodgers is turning 43 this season. He needs a real run game, real protection up front, guys executing without hesitation on every single snap. If this offense looks anything like last year's version come September, fans are gonna be furious. And honestly, rightfully so. McCarthy wasn't hired for kind of the same, but slightly better. He was hired to fix this thing. Continuity only works if the results actually change on Sundays. Look, I get why McCarthy's keeping some of that old language, but Steelers fans didn't want some of the old stuff. They wanted a real fresh start. Do you trust McCarthy's plan here? Drop your take below and subscribe so you don't miss a single Steelers update this season.